Hello there, my my friends. Welcome back to the There Must Be Bugs channel. And today, we're doing something a little bit different here. We're actually gonna make a bit of a series start on a cinematic film series that I'm gonna build on Unreal Engine. So that's gonna be quite nice. Um, and obviously this is going to be the entire way just me, helping you, like helping you understand how to do everything step by step, or the world building, or the production and stuff like this. So obviously you guys can contribute to this also. So if you need or if you want to add something or change something, absolutely just slap those into the comments and I'll read them. I'll read as many as I can. But yes, so obviously first step is we want to grab Obsidian. So for Obsidian, you just go to a browser, you type in Obsidian, and then you download Obsidian, which the icon looks looks like a diamond or an obsidian. So you just click on that. It's called, let me check. It would be called obsidian.md/download. That would be the path that you would want to take. So with that, we are in Obsidian. We've created our vault in whatever manner you want, and now we've got we start off with a welcome page, which I did remove. We have a graph view, we have a node, and we have new tab, which we can create a new note or go to file. A new note is one node on the graph view, so that could be useful later on when you want to see the connections and things. So I think in this episode we'll probably just go ahead and maybe start off with the because usually when you create a story or world building, you do like to start off small. Starting off small means that you can build out, and obviously you won't have too many problems of starting off big and then having to follow a whole load of rules down to the smallest things. So I think the best thing is we start off with a planet or a faction. So I think we'll start off with a planet and then build that and then create a faction and all this. So this episode will be that exactly, building a planet, building out the world as we speak it. And for the first multiple episodes, it'll be a lot of world building. So if you want, you guys can skip to the episodes where we start on the production, or you can keep watching it until the end. Now, for a name, I mean, you can. If you don't have a name, you just put, I don't know, Planet One or something very simple like a Terra. I mean, that just means Earth in Latin, I'm pretty sure. So let's call the planet Elysium. That sounds cool. So now we have Elysium, which if we go back to the graph view, it appears down over yonder, which is our first node. Then we'll type in the context of the planet, maybe what the planet is, like what type of planet it is. By the way, this is a sci-fi film series, so if you want a different film series, like a fantasy or whatever, that'll probably be for a later series, but for now, I think we'll roll with a sci-fi series. Elysium is our planet, so we'll first say Elysium is the home world, because I want it to be the home world of and then here what we can do is a good feature of Obsidian here is if you do double square brackets here, you can actually reference other nodes, and if the node that you reference doesn't exist, then it'll be highlighted in a lighter color. which is quite nice, because that allows you to know what things are missing and what isn't. So if I type in Elysium is the home world of the Loyalists. Nah, Iridians. That could be quite interesting. So now this is dark purple, and if we go into here, this is grey, which actually blends a little bit into the darkness of the graph view here, which I think I can change somewhere, but I can't remember. I think it's in settings. We go into settings. Maybe it's in like appearance. I think it is base color. Adapt to system themes. Yeah, light. So now we're in light mode. I think I like light mode better because I can see this better. There we go. So now we've got Elysium is the home world of the Iridians. A highly advanced and intelligent species. And let's make Iridians not humanoid. And no, I'm not gonna copy paste from Project Hail Mary, although when you're DMing, for example, that's obviously something you can do. You can just steal ideas from films and things that already exist. Which actually, in thinking about it, whatever you actually write, there is a potential chance that you are stealing from something that already exists. So that's a bit funny, but a highly advanced and intelligent species of now what do we want the Iridians to look like? I think, or instead we can move this into a new file. Highly advanced species, highly advanced and intelligent species of and then what we can do is we can just put a placeholder of non-humanoid creatures, and then we'll swap non-humanoid with something different. What I could do is I could put this, although I actually still have no idea what that does. Let me put there we go, just to bold that out. So Elysium, we've now determined that Elysium is the home world, or I'll actually call it the home planet of the Iridians, a highly advanced and intelligent species of non-humanoid creatures. Now, what do the Iridians like? What's on this planet? Well, I think we'll say the Iridians' homeworld holds on two extremes. Absolute cold on one side and absolute heat on the other. This actually is pretty interesting, I think, because the Iridians, that means that they're probably like very accustomed to very specific parts of the world based on obviously where they existed from. So there's probably going to be some Iridians that are more accustomed to the cold because they've lived on the absolute cold side, or they're more accustomed to the heat because they lived on the absolute heat side, or they're just simply not accustomed fully to either of them, which makes it a little bit more dangerous and sparse to, you know, find those types of Iridians. So Elysium is now a world that holds on two extremes, absolute cold on one side and absolute heat on the other. Now we can explain this, where the absolute cold or the two extremes was formed due to tidal locking of the world itself, of the planet, to its sun. And then we can actually put a name for the sun. So now we've got Elysium, we've got Iridians, and we have a name for the sun. Which I guess for now we'll call it Solaris. And if you go to the graph view, you can actually see the lines here that connect each of these, which is quite nice. The Iridian's homeworld holds on two extremes, absolute cold on one side and absolute heat on the other. The two extremes were formed due to tidal locking of the planet to its sun, Solaris. So that means that one side is obviously cold because it never faces the sun, and the other is obviously hot because it only faces the sun. To its sun, to its star. Then we can probably go to a new section here and type in the sort of architectural lifestyle of each area. So what we can actually do is we can press the hashtag to make a title, and we'll type in lifestyles on Elysium, and then we put two hashtags to do like a smaller title, and we'll say absolute cold, and then here we type in the stuff on absolute cold. I usually just put all the titles, absolute cold, absolute heat, complete balance. So those are like the two lifestyles. You've got the absolute cold, the absolute heat, and the complete balance. And obviously in between, or in these areas, you'll have different groups, different, you know, that's some more fancy stuff after the basics here. So lifestyles, so let's say on absolute cold, the Iridians have sought to live in great biodomes. Live in great biodomes, and I guess we can craft or make a new ore or something like this, new material. Listenite. I sort of live in great biodomes of listenite. Which protects them. From the cold outside and warms them with the release of heat on the inside. And then I guess we can write that Iridians who live on the absolute cold are known as the, and then we can actually create another symbol here. Iridians who live on the absolute cold are known as, and then we'll say the sub-zero constructors, the sub-zero architects. Transport is also a rather difficult, a rather important thing here. So here we've learned how they where they live. So they live in great biodomes of the listenite, which protects them from the cold outside and warms them with the release of heat on the inside. we've identified what they are known as specifically on that planet, which is the Sub-Zero Architects, or some, alien language that we haven't identified yet. And now we want transport, we probably want food and water, how they get all the necessities, basically. That's the lifestyles. So transport, let's see. Maybe they use transport is difficult to come by. Sorry about that. Transport is difficult to come by in the absolute cold. But when you see one, it may be best to step aside. And then we'll say the vehicles that the Sub-Zero Architects use to travel are called absolution tanks. The vehicles that the Sub-Zero Architects use to travel are called absolution tanks. Great towering hovercrafts made of listenite that are heavily armed and defensive. Heavily armed and armored. And has the capability of holding up to, let's say 250 Sub-Zero Architects. So now we got the transport, we got the life, like where they live, their name, and that's usually enough. So now we can head and do the same for absolute heat and complete balance, which each of these are actually the names of the areas. So that's the absolute heat, and then we'll also do the complete balance side, which I think I'm gonna use both things, or allow both things, like materials of the absolute cold and the absolute heat, because the complete balance is like the mixture of the two. It's like the mesh between absolute heat and absolute cold, and there's only a very slim line in the center of or around like the equator of the planet. So there we go. So now we got the lifestyles of absolute cold, absolute heat, and complete balance, and then we can close this, or and actually we don't need this space. So now we've got to think of probably the faction that the Iridians are in. So we can actually go into Iridians. We can click on Iridians, and now over on the side here we actually have Elysium and Iridians, which now this is highlighted dark because we've created a note on Iridians. And so what we can actually do is we can grab this first sentence and then bring them into here. And then here I can type the Iridians are a highly advanced and intelligent species of four-limbed, let's see here, the Iridians are a highly advanced and intelligent species of four-limbed adaptable creatures. No, four-limbed circular, or spherical, I should say, creatures that can adapt very quickly with the environment they live in. These creatures live on the planet of Elysium and gather their power. Live on the planet of Elysium. Right. So now this has actually grown a little bit because there are more connections, as you can see there. The Iridians are highly advanced. And then here we can say there are 3 distinct races of Iridians based on their adapted region of the planet. And then we can do dash space to put a dot. So first one is the architects, Sub-Zero architects who live on the absolute cold. The second one is the molten inventors who live on the absolute heat. And the third one, why is this dot weird? You see that? Interesting. And then the third one is the balanced intelligence who live on the complete balance. Each of these races have their own strengths and weaknesses based on the environment they live in. Right? And so we've started with Elysium and Iridians and all this because these are probably gonna be a part of the greater world. Now I think we're gonna probably obviously make the humans the main protagonist, but we'll also add some alien. Maybe an Iridian joins the group and helps them, I don't know, conquer their quest or something like this. Who knows? Maybe the Iridians are in a great war with the humans. That could also be a very good, very nice option to have. But this is a little bit for later. I think for now we'll just craft up the Elysium, the Iridians, maybe the faction that they're in, and then the humans. And then from there we can devise some conflicts between them or some alliances, and we can also go ahead and later on and just if there is an alliance, which faction are they against, you know? And then that just creates some conflicts and political issues, you know, who knows. Each of these races have their own strengths and weaknesses based on the environment they live in. And then we create a new thing. The Iridians are part of a greater faction known as the, and then we have a new text here, known as the, they're of a different faction. Or maybe they're their own faction, or it's like the Solaris faction. The Solaris loyalists. It would be the Solaris Republic. The Iridians are part of a greater faction known as the Solaris Republic, which conjoins which allies all the races and people of the the Solaris system under one banner. There we go. And now it just this is when it becomes a mess, because now we got this and this, and you know, we got everything's just connected to each other. That's gonna become a mess. Please don't just stare at that, or then you're gonna get some kind of, I don't know, hypnotization or something. The Urian is a part of a greater faction of the Solar Republic, which allies all the races and people of the solar system under one banner. The Solaris Republic has not, or has been neutral for a long time, has been neutral for many hundreds of years, living in prosperity. But after this long period of neutrality, a faction known as the Imperial Surge entered the system and began raiding and destroying their homes. So now we've created a situation here which will elaborate in the Imperial Surge. This left the Republic, this left the Solaris Republic in disarray. Until the moment where the Imperial Surge left. From that point onwards, the SR had allied themselves with an ancient, or with a small but powerful faction known as the Galactic Alliance. There we go. So that kind of just builds up a story here. So now we know that the Iridians, which are part of the Solaris Republic, are in war or want revenge against the Imperial Surge, so they allied themselves with the Great Alliance. This is where it begins, basically. So now what we can do is we can create a note, and I'll type in here notes for the overall story, right? And then we put everything that might be of interest in here later on. So Elysium, is there anything here? Maybe there's some internal conflict, so I'll write this down. Potential internal conflict between the three races of Elysium. Right? Maybe we have, and then here we also have a bit of backstory, so I guess we can grab this, put it here, and then modify it so that it's not as long as hell as this. So maybe we'll put in, there we go. And so that's another note for the overall story, which might be of interest here. Next, so now we've talked about the Iridians. I guess we can go on to talk about the Solaris Republic itself. Maybe the Solaris system. See, and now this is the time where everything just expands outwards. So I guess we can go on to the Solaris system. Solaris. This Solaris system houses 15 planets and 20, and then we'll just say 20 moons. The solar system houses 15 planets and 20 moons, which all have developed life due to different reasons. Right? The Solaris let's say the Solaris or actually Solaris houses the Solaris Republic, where all races are formed under one banner. These races may have some internal conflict or problems with each other, but nonetheless they are still part of one faction. And then here we'll do planets and races. And then here we just have 15. Let's not make it 20 moons. 20 moons is a bit excessive. Let's make it 8 planets, or maybe 12 planets and 5 moons. And then we have planet 1, moon 1, planet 2, planet 10, 11, and then planet 12, moon 6. So let's make it 6 moons, 12 planets. So that's like the distribution. I kind of just went at random, but that's the power of imagination, because now you're going to be able to make a whole bunch of different things. Race 1, race 2, or more like a species, or people species, I think I'm going to call it. There we go. So that's just a quick thing there. And let's make Solaris like really like close to the sun. Maybe Solaris has 2 moons. Maybe it's just I think I'm gonna make it solitary. So let's make a planet 4. So this is no, not Solaris, but Elysium. So this is Elysium. And these are the Iridians. We basically just go like this, boom, 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 like name, race, name, race, name, race. But for now, we obviously do not need to know every single race. That is not necessary. Let's write potential internal conflict or problems between the people of the Solaris. Between the three. Oh, and that bar in the middle is just shift backslash, and then it puts a different thing. See, like if I put in, I don't know, notes for overall, and then I just do this and type in notes, now it's just notes. So that is quite useful. The 3 Iridian races of Elysium, between the people of Solaris Republic. So these are just 3 different situations that might be happening in the overall arc from 3 or maybe even just 2 nodes. So now what we can do is, let's go back to Solaris. We have these. Is we can actually go ahead and maybe start on the Galactic Alliance, because there we know quite a lot about these Iridians. So let's do Galactic Alliance. The Galactic Alliance is a small but powerful faction that spans multiple star systems around the Terran system, around the Terra system, around the Sol system. The controlling species are the humans of Terra. So the humans of Terra. And I guess we will need to put this because that's the species of the humans. Controlling species are the humans of Terra. Whom of which have founded the Galactic Alliance. And begun. I don't want to say conquer, because they didn't conquer. They kind of just, they went there, they befriended them, and then they joined. Whom of which have founded the Galactic Alliance and begun befriending the nearby star systems to ultimately join. To ultimately have them join the Alliance. Okay. Has been in war and under threat. With the Imperial Surge for a multitude of centuries. For a multitude of centuries. And now the Solaris Republic have combined, well, not combined, but have allied with them for assistance. The SR, the GA, the GA's political system, the Senate of the Alliance, has has allowed one representative of the SR to be part of the meetings. So now we have some more stuff that we've grabbed here. So now we can put here meetings at the Senate. At the Senate of the Alliance may occur. There we go. So now we've got more notes for the overall story. Galactic Alliance has been in war, so yeah, this is in war. The Imperial surge since a multitude of centuries. There we go. So this is very important, just to grab up all of the notes about different story hooks and arcs and things, because these can all become episodes at a later date. So that's this. We've done Elysium, so the home planet of the Iridians. We've elaborated on who the Iridians are. We've also started on Solaris, the Solaris system, and we've also built up the Galactic Alliance just a little bit. And most importantly, we've added these notes for the overall story here, which we will be able to turn into story hooks and episode ideas and stuff later on. So that there will be it for this episode. Thank you very much for just chilling with me and learning about how to prepare some world building. We've made a planet, a people, a star system, and an entire alliance or faction, so this was very good progress. Now obviously, once again, as I said in the intro, if you guys have any suggestions of changes or additions that you want to add to this, please note them in the description or in the comments down below, and I'll try and read as many as I can after this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.